So about 2 days ago, a piece of news came across my internet feed and I was really excited for it. I was like, this is crazy. This is awesome. I'm sure everyone's going to be talking about this. And I wanted to do a video on it, but like I said, I figured all of my friends would have done videos on this. I figured all the big retro gaming channels would have talked about this because this is pretty groundbreaking stuff. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big, impactful announcement, not necessarily because of what was announced, but what could come from the future of this. And I sat back and I looked at my YouTube subscription feed and maybe 2 people talked about it, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? You guys need to be talking about this because I am hyped about it. I am super excited for what this could bring about. So, what is the news? Simply put, Retrobit is teaming up with Sega, and they're releasing new products for Sega systems in 2018. And the sky is the limit with this. So we're gonna talk about what has been announced, what we can expect from the first batch of products, and then starts the fun part. We're gonna start to theorize and come up with different ideas that we could end up seeing from Retrobit and Sega. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about Sega and Retrobit's new partnership going into 2018. All right, so first and foremost, we are going to take a look at the press release, go over what was said, and then see why I'm excited about this. Acknowledging the continual growth of the retro gaming market, Retrobit, a premier publisher and manufacturer of classic gaming products, today announced a licensing agreement with Sega of America to produce accessories for Sega's gaming platforms, including, but not limited to, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Dreamcast. Okay, right then and there, that's huge news, okay? Genesis, whatever. You know, there's a lot of ways to play your Genesis now. You can play it on the Retro 5, the Mini Gen, there's stuff like the Super Retro Trio. Genesis stuff, a bit old news. I mean, it's still cool that we're gonna get new stuff for the Genesis, but Genesis, not such a big deal. But Saturn? Saturn Dreamcast? Are you nuts? Are you nuts? New Saturn and Dreamcast products? Like, this is awesome. Like, yeah, games come out for it, but there's never any hardware or accessories or new stuff that comes out for these systems. It's pretty dry in that market. So this is a big announcement. And then Retrobit goes on to say what sort of products we can expect from the first round. The first products and concepts under the agreement include several accessories that feature the same great quality as their original Sega counterparts, like the original console port, but also with modern upgrades such as USB port for PC compatibility and Bluetooth wireless technology. These new products are slated to debut in the NX booth 21023 in the South Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center during CES 2018. So, you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, it's just some Bluetooth controllers, it's not a big deal. First and foremost, Bluetooth controllers on the Saturn and Dreamcast, that is a big deal. Wireless controllers for these systems with the Sega quality to them, like, that's cool, that's awesome. I would like to be able to sit back and relax and not worry about a small cord length. I appreciate this, and as long as it works well, I'm very excited for this. But what really has me excited about this announcement are the possibilities of what could come from this, because you just have to look at Retrobit's pedigree and what they've done recently and what sort of products they've been coming out with, and then imagine if they do things like this with Sega. So let's take one thing right at the start, the Retrobit NES clone that they did that I reviewed on this channel. What was cool about that? Well, you could play your HD, you can play your NES games in HD. So what if they come along with a a Saturn thing, or let's scale it back a little bit. What about a Sega Genesis and a 32X combination system, where you can play both your Sega Genesis and your 32X games on one platform and upscale them into HD? So that would be awesome, because then I could play Knuckles Chaotic and Virtua Fighter 32X in beautiful HD. I'm one of those weirdos with a complete 32X collection. Why? I don't know! That's a Pee Wee Herman reference. If you got it, good job. But anyways, it's super cool to be able to play these old retro games in HD and not have to worry about playing them on your CRT TV, because a lot of these CRT TVs are dying. A lot of them weigh 1,000,000 pounds. Like, if I ever were to move, my CRT TV is not going with me because it weighs 300 freaking pounds. But pressing on, they also just released the Super Retrocade, which I reviewed on this channel, which was a plug-and-play system, and it had games from Capcom, Data East, Irem on there, and Capcom. Now that's an interesting one, because last time I checked, Capcom and Sega were like the 2 best publishers on the Dreamcast. And if we're making products for the Dreamcast, What's not to say we're not going to see a plug-and-play Dreamcast loaded with 20 to 25 of the best games from Sega and Capcom. So you got games like, Marvel vs. Capcom on there. You got Power Stone on there. You've got Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2. Like, the list could be endless. It could be endless. And there's so many possible things that could come from this. You could have brand new CD-based systems, clone systems come out from this. One of the things that people seem to forget is cartridge-based systems have a longer lifespan than a CD-based system, because a cartridge-based system doesn't have as many working parts. Really, as long as the pin connector is good, you're good to go. You slap your cartridge in there. That's why the Atari 2600 still works. That's why your NES still works. And if it doesn't work, you just get a new pin set and pop it in and it does work. But with the CD-based system, there's a lot more to it. You have things like the lenses. You have a lot of moving parts in there. So to have new, like, Sega Saturn consoles come out from Retrobit, that would be freaking awesome, because then I wouldn't have to worry about taxing my Sega Saturn system and worrying about my original system breaking if I have clone hardware. That's one of the things I like about clone hardware, is that I can keep my original hardware and, not worry about it breaking, because I have this other system that probably costs less or maybe about the same, but I don't have to worry about it breaking. And if it does break, it has a warranty with it, because all these systems have warranties, 1 to 2 years. So that is a very exciting possibility. And then you add to the fact that what if they put an HDMI port on it and you could play your Sega Saturn games and your Dreamcast games in beautiful HD right out of the box. I need it. I need products like this. I want products to come out like this. And honestly, I think Retrobit is going to do this. Why would you get into a Sega partnership and just do simple things like controllers? I honestly feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think once we start chiseling away at the iceberg and knocking it down, we're going to see some really cool products. Maybe a plug-and-play Sega Saturn, maybe a plug-and-play Dreamcast like I mentioned. They obviously do both plug-and-play systems and hardware-based systems like we saw with the NES system. So really, this is very exciting news, people, especially if you're a Sega fan, because the possibilities are limitless. The possibilities are endless from what we could see from this partnership. And Retrobit, honestly, usually makes pretty decent products. So I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for the controllers. I'm very excited for what new Sega products we're going to be getting in 2018, because we're getting new Dreamcast controllers. We're getting new Saturn controllers. We're getting new Genesis controllers. What about Master System stuff? A plug-and-play Master System, a Game Gear that you can play on your TV. God! There's so much! There's so much! And I want it. And I want it all. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think about this new partnership between Retrobit and Sega. What sort of products you want to see from the companies, and what sort of products you expect to see from these companies. And thank you guys for watching this video. I know I was a bit all over the place here, very excited, maybe talking too fast, but when it comes to Sega stuff, man, I love Sega stuff. And the fact that we're getting new products and it's not something, silly like Sega Forever was, which was mobile stuff and bleh, that's exciting to me. And I really hope that the future of Retrobit and Sega is very bright, and I hope that they do a lot of fun stuff, plug and play consoles, new hardware, new controllers, all sorts of fun stuff, because that's what retro gaming is all about, bringing it back to when you were a kid and bringing it back to that original feeling. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, stay up to date in the world of retro gaming and Nintendo Switch stuff, I guess, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT 85, RGT 85. RGT 85, RGT 85.